beautiful people, welcome back. So this video is 2 weeks late, I think, a week and a half, 2 weeks. In my last video, I mentioned that my husband and I had a trip planned to the Netherlands because we wanted to check out a fairy tale theme park called Efteling, or Efteling. So that is a really cool theme park. I think this year they celebrated their 70th year being open. So yeah, we spent a whole week in the Netherlands, and that was our first stop. Now, this video took me a while because I think this is like almost 2 hours of footage that I kind of like had to trim and edit and speed up. So it took me a lot longer than I anticipated, but here it is. So Efteling is, like I said, a really cool fairy tale theme park. All of the names, of course, are going to be in Dutch, so I'm more than likely going to butcher it. So my husband and I are not theme park people. Like, we don't do roller coaster rides, so we mainly went on things known as dark rides. So dark rides are kind of just like indoor rides where you sit in some kind of like seat of some kind, and it just takes you through these different rooms, and they have like different themes, and just like it's mainly like a little mini show in a way. So this, what I'm working on here, we were in line for Droomvault, which was our favorite dark ride. We actually went on it twice, and in the waiting area they had these doors, and I'm sure they were for like staff, but I really liked the doors, and as soon as I saw them, I knew I wanted to create some kind of interactive, like fold up thing for my journal, and that's what I'm doing here. I originally I printed the doors out on photo paper, which in hindsight, I probably should have printed the doors just on regular paper so it would have been less bulky. So if you're going to do this, don't use photo paper. It was too many layers, I think. But it still came out exactly the way I thought. So anyway, this Droomvault one was like super cool because it took you through these like fairy tale forests, and then it almost made me think of like Sailor Moon and like Moon Kingdom rooms. It was just gorgeous. So I'm going to insert some clips here. I apologize in advance if they're a little shaky. Yeah, vlogging just isn't my thing, so I apologize, but yeah, it was just so beautiful. As you can see, in each room, like I said, we went through it twice, and every time we went through, you discovered something new. So it's one of those rides where you could go on multiple times and still get something out of it. But it's just crazy to think that these rides have been up for years and they've aged so well, and the animatronics are in such great condition. So if you have kids, I think this would be really fun, especially like for theme parks. You get tired of walking around and waiting in lines and stuff. I think these dark rides are just a perfect little reset. But yeah, so Droomvault we went on twice. We went on another one where it was, like I said, a boat, and it was very, like, I think it was, like, Middle Eastern themed, and there were, you were in a marketplace, and they had, like, when you were going through the marketplace, you smelled, like, all the spices and the incense and stuff, which was a nice touch. And then it had, like, this really, like, I think the best part of that particular ride was the fact that at the end, you went under some giant, like it was like a giant genie type of thing. And I don't even know how they did that. It was really cool. I think I have a clip of that, so I will insert that here. the video doesn't necessarily do it justice. It's way more impressive in person. It's just I film all my videos on my iPhone, so not like the greatest quality, but I tried. Anywho, that one was probably like one of my not so favorite dark rides, just because it didn't, I don't know, it wasn't as like fairy tale themed as I would have liked, but still really cool with the genie there. But anywho, so yeah, we went on a Monday, and normally weekdays are the best time to go to theme parks, but it seemed like a bunch of schools were there for some kind of like field trip. So, I mean, we got there as soon as the park opened, and we were able to do a lot of the rides that we had planned beforehand. Which, by the way, if you do go to any theme park, I feel like the best way to do it is to look at the theme park map in advance and just make a list of all the rides you want to go to, find where they are on the map, and then plan your day that way. So that's what me and my husband did, and it just made the day so smooth. But anywho, so yeah, we went on that ride. I'm not sure what it was called, but anyway, the only like scary ride, or at least I thought was scary, was called Via Volta, I think. And that ride, I mean, when you go through, you hear the story of like the house and how the house is haunted. Obviously, the story is all in Dutch, so if you don't speak Dutch, I mean, you're just kind of standing in these rooms just listening to a story that you don't understand, which, I mean, it's fine. But essentially, I think it's like a story of these like raiders who get cursed, and you're now in their cursed haunted house. And now, the reason why this ride freaked me out is you walk into this room and you sit on these pews, like they're like church pews essentially. You sit on them, and the little like, you know, seatbelt belt thing that they put on for the handles or whatever that come down for usual rides. And then all of a sudden, the room that you're in, it starts to spin, and it's so trippy and disorienting because like you really don't know which way is up, and there's music going, and the whole room is spinning. I'm going to insert clips of this. I did try really hard to take video of it, but I just like, I could only get a few seconds because I panicked. I was just like freaking out, and I couldn't do it. So, anyway, here is a clip of the one ride that scared the living bejesus out of me. I wish I had gotten like longer, but like I said, I just freaked out. But yeah, the whole entire room rotates. So the ceiling becomes the floor, and the floor becomes the ceiling, and you're just like spinning, and it's so weird because like I went on that ride twice. The first time I went on it, I didn't think it was that bad, but the second time I looked at the exit door as like a frame of reference, and I totally regret doing that because I started seeing how that door was like slanting, and it just, yeah, it freaked me out. But anyway, that's a really good one to go on if you don't like roller coaster rides, but you still want to get kind of spooked. So yeah, so we did that. We had enough time to go on like our favorite rides multiple times. Sometimes throughout the day they'll do like little shows. They didn't have a whole lot going on. I think we just kind of went at like a weird time because they were also doing construction. So normally they have this really big lake that does like light shows at the end of the day because we spent the whole entire day at the park, which never happens. But this lake does a light show, but that lake was drained, and they were doing work on it. And then another cool thing that I had seen about the park that I was really excited for was they sell little replica wands of like their mascot. And these wands, there are different stations throughout the park where if you put the wand to that little station, like something happens. So, like I said, I will link the original video that I watched about Efteling, and that person actually is able to do that. And I was so excited for that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to have this fairy tale wand and I'm going to go to all the park doing all the fairy things. But I guess because of COVID, they were having difficulties with the manufacturer who makes the microchips for the wand that has it react to the little like place where you, the little displays where you put your wand to it and it activates. So they're having difficulty getting the little chips for the wand, so they didn't have them. And I was just really bummed. But it's okay. Hubs and I decided that we're going to go back next year. So I think we want to go back like every year that we're here just because we had so much fun. And that, it was just really cool to see everything and just be really immersed in the decor and stuff. And I will say, unlike most theme parks, the food was very affordable. You are allowed to bring in your own food and drinks and things, which I thought was really cool because I don't think in the States you're allowed to do that for theme parks. But yeah, so definitely we'll go back again. And that's a little mascot, and that wand is the one that I was talking about. So the photo I'm gluing down here is me outside of the very first ride that we went on, and that was Spook Slot. So that, obviously I don't think that's how you say that, but anyway, that's not really like a ride per se. It's more of like a scary show, and I will show you what I mean in a clip right here. So this one, you just kind of like went into a room, and all around the room were windows into that little display. And I think it tells the story of a woman, I think she was a witch, who was wrongfully accused and was put to death. And so she cursed everyone involved in her trial. And so you're seeing kind of like all of that play out in front of you. So you have there were gravestones that would rattle and people rising from the dead, it looked like. There was a hangman that was hanging. A gargoyle comes out. And there's like all this like creepy dramatic music. And it was really atmospheric. Definitely not like a ride in any sense. It was more like a little show. Some people hate it. I didn't mind it. I thought it was really cool, like that they were able to create such a spooky ambiance, especially in like a kids theme park. But yeah, don't go into that one expecting that you're going to be like genuinely scared or like in a room tossing about or anything. It's just, you just kind of stand there and watch this play out. I didn't film the other part because I didn't think people wanted to see like the dead men hanging and stuff like that because it's a little dark. But I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a good first start of the day. But yeah, Spook Slot was the first one we went on. And we only went on it one time, I believe. Now, there is a dark ride that everybody talks about for Efteling, and it's called Symbolica. And so that one, you're in these little pods, and you would get to decide which route you want to take. So there's a hero, a music, and a treasure route. And it's one of those dark rides, and you just kind of like go from room to room. And the difference, there's like a small difference between each one. People talk about going on it 3 times so you can see all 3 variations, but we didn't do that. We went as solo riders instead of going like in a pair, so that way we could go through it faster. Because yeah, I think if we went together, we would have had to wait. We would have had to have wait 40 minutes to get on it versus the 5 minutes we waited on to do solo. So my husband and I ended up on two different routes, and there weren't really that much differences, but I'll include a little clip of one of the rooms that you see in the Symbolica ride. It was an okay ride, but definitely not worth all the hype in my opinion. But anywho, now we're on to my favorite part of the park, and that was the fairy tale forest. So I would say about a good 35-40% of the park is this little path and trails that lead you through these different displays for different fairy tales. So this one here, I'm going to talk to you first, is this big old tree guy. He is just a talking tree that tells you all of the fairy tales that are going on in the park, and apparently it's interactive, but I don't speak Dutch, so I'm not really sure. I was most impressed with this particular animatronic, and I will show you a clip of that here.
Nou en of, maar heks werd er ongeduwd.
It's just crazy how they got like its facial features to move. And I think it definitely, supposedly it's interactive, but like I said, I don't speak Dutch, so I'm not really 100% sure. But that one was really cool. They had Cinderella, Rapunzel, Pinocchio, just like your main fairy tales and stuff. On the top right hand corner, that little mushroom tree guy, that one there is supposed to be the Troll King, who tells you, like, he apparently gives you advice and tells you your fortune. So that one I thought was really cool, just the way that the tree itself was decorated. I do have a clip of that, which I will insert.
Ja,
Just like overall, the fairy tale forest was very magical. And I came across like a couple of interesting stories that I had never heard before, like that Troll King for one, that talking tree. There's another one that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but it's about a donkey. So that one, it's a donkey who, if you give it a quarter or like 50 cents or whatever, it actually shoots out gold coins from, well, it lifts its tail and shoots out a gold coin, which I thought was so ridiculous. But, you know, it was one of those things where we heard about it and we were like, okay, we have to see this donkey. And so the story is called Donkey Lift Up Your Tail. And yeah, it was really like weird, but also kind of just really interesting at the same time. So when I went to the Efteling park, I kept seeing these like pictures and drawings of this guy with a really, really long neck. And I really, really liked how he looked. Like, he's weird and creepy looking, but I kind of liked it. So I looked into it, and that belongs to a fairy tale about a prince who has 6 soldiers, or like 6 servants. I wouldn't say servants, soldiers makes more sense. But one of them is this long neck guy whose neck stretches so long he can see halfway around the world. And so he's one of the 6 people who helped this prince find this princess who's locked away by her cruel mother so that he is allowed to marry her. And the animatronic for that one was really neat because it was the long neck guy, and his neck actually like stretches really, really high up. Yeah, not gonna lie, he looks hella creepy, but I thought it was cool. And like the other 5 servants, like there's one guy who is so cold nothing can burn him. One guy's ears are so large he can hear even grass grow. I can't remember. Oh, one guy's his legs are so long he can like jump across the world. They were just like really ridiculous. But I thought it was neat because you typically don't hear stories with such strange character descriptions. But yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked him. So I actually got a tote bag from Efteling with his face all over it because I just thought it was cute. Um, but another fairy tale that I saw in the theme park that I had never heard of before was this one about this witch who had a beautiful singing voice who would enchant people with it, but she was very cruel, and so was trying to get these star children. She was trying to trap them because she was just so attracted to how beautiful they were. And so every night she would sing to kind of lure the star children in, and they would dance. And then there were 7 who refused to leave when all of the other star children tried to leave, and they ended up getting cursed to forever dance to her music. So during the day, they are turned into water lilies, and at night, that's when they come out and dance, and they spend all night dancing and looking up at the sky, longing to be back where they belonged. So I thought that was a really cool story, and so I took a longer video of that from the fairy tale forest. I just thought it was kind of funny that the music seemed to be very like Latin influenced that they would dance to. So like the rest of the day, and like I mean, it's been like weeks since we got back, but my husband and I will still like randomly sing that little tune because I just think it's so funny that these like the star children got so enamored or like trapped by that song. But anywho, so yeah, that was another one, and I have a little clip here, so I will put that in. Footage of one last fairy tale that's pretty popular, and that is Pinocchio. And this one, they actually showed you the terrifying whale fish that he gets trapped into. Yeah, so I thought that one was really creepy. And that's all I gotta say about Pinocchio. But now I get to talk to you guys about Trash Boys. So, all around Efteling, there are these like trash cans, but they have these like really creepy dudes on them, and they are supposed to help promote you throwing your trash where you're supposed to. So when you throw your trash, usually they'll like burp or they'll fart or they'll say thank you. So I went around the park trying to get these trash boys to react, and I tried it not once, not twice, 3 times, and every single time like they did not do anything, and I was so upset about it. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys. I did film 2 of them so you can see my disappointment and their lack of reaction.
Papier hier, papier hier.
Hallo, hallo.
Hier. Papier. Hier. Papier.
So sadness with the trash boys, but I did have a good time like going around the park to find them and take pictures of them. I think that's a really innovative and a cool way to get people to throw their garbage. And now I wasn't 100% sure if it was like all garbage or just paper, so I did try to only throw things that I think were paper or like, could be recycled. I attempted. Um, but yeah, I would get really excited anytime I saw one around the park. So I made that little tip in. I mean, I've moved on from it, but I did make a tip in with like all of the four that I found. But yeah, Trash Boys were one of my, like all of the park, I think was my absolute favorite. We, of course, got hungry, so we went to eat at some place called Pole's Kitchen, which people recommend because of the ambiance, essentially. Like, it's kind of just like a little gimmick to get you to go. When you walk in, they have like, you know, there's a big hearth, I think it is, and they're like pots that are moving and everything's spinning and it's like quirky and fun. We unfortunately did not get seated in that area, so we got seated in the back, so it was just like a regular back of a restaurant. So it wasn't anything like too fancy. And they sell sweet and savory pancakes. Now, this one I will say was not worth it. It was a little expensive. I mean, there are other options in the park for like quickie. It's like pick up a sandwich and go kind of thing. Um, but this was just not it. I was like still kind of hungry afterwards because like savory pancakes in general, I can do them for breakfast, but like not for food. But yeah, we went just to see what all the fuss was about, but totally not worth it. So if you do go, I mean, pop in to see the quirkiness, but it's totally not worth eating there in my opinion. Like I said, I was super hungry afterwards, like later on, because we spent all day in the park. Like they opened at 10 and they closed, I think, at like 8, I think, or 7. We stayed the whole time. So I ended up just getting a sandwich from somewhere, and it was like €6 for a sandwich and a drink, which is pretty inexpensive for an amusement park, in my opinion. So Pole's Kitchen, and then they do have these like really big. They do have one really big show that they do twice a day, and there's like it's like night. It's kind of like medieval times, but they have like a giant fire-breathing dragon, a mechanical one. And so we missed the first showing because, like I said, there were a lot of kids there for a field trip, I think. So that first showing got full, like right before, like we were at the front of the line and they were like, we can't take any more, we're at max capacity. So we decided to try the later show, but then we looked it up online and we watched a little bit of it on YouTube and we just, I don't know, didn't seem that enticing to us. So we decided to just go back to Droom Vault, which was a really cool dark ride that I mentioned in the beginning. We decided to do that a second time because it's right next door to where that show was going. And we figured since everyone would be at the show, we wouldn't have to wait as long for Droom Vault. And that's exactly right. We did not have to wait as long the second time. Really funny story on that ride. So, like most rides, they do take a picture of you on it. The first time we were on it, we didn't know, obviously, where the photo was going to be. But the second time, my husband and I were like, let's make the most ridiculous faces that we can for our photo now that we know where it is. So, I made a really weird face, but I made it too early. So the flash that went off I thought was for us, but it was actually for the cart in front of us. So by the time we came around to our turn for the photo, I had already made my funny face and I was just kind of like laughing, thinking about how ridiculous it was going to look. So I turned to my husband to like laugh and ask him what face he made. And that's when I saw that he was making a funny face, and I saw the flash, and I realized that I had made my face too early. And so we were just cracking up the entire ride, dying to see what that photo looked like. Um, and yeah, it was hilarious. Like, he's making a funny face, and I'm looking at him, and I'm laughing, and yeah, so funny. We didn't buy the photo, I just took a picture of it to put in my journal. And that's what that picture was with the post-it over it, just because I'm sure my husband doesn't want the world to see his like funny face. But yeah, friggin' hilarious. So the other two photo rides, like pictures from the ride, so were Symbolica. So we went through Symbolica, like I said, my husband and I went separate, and we were with other people. So the people in front of me in our little cart was like a mom, a dad, and a little girl, I think, and my husband's, I think, was just a couple. So I didn't realize it was taking a photo when it was taking a photo, and I think the same for him. So when we got to the end of the Symbolica ride and we're looking at the photos from, you know, I just started cracking up because we both look so miserable. And there's this family, like, you know, these couples, this family who's in front, just like smiling, enjoying themselves. And I'm like, wow, these people are totally not going to buy that photo because, you know, we kind of ruined it. But yeah, friggin' hilarious. I guess that's like a plus if you are looking for those candid photos. Um, but yeah, we had like I said, so much fun. We did that. We went on like a snail monorail ride where you were just like in a snail and it just took you slowly around the top of the park, but it was not super high up and not that impressive. So I would skip that if you are going. It's right next to Via Volta. What else did we do? They also have like a little like a carnival game set up like most places do, you know, like you go fishing for a duck and the duck has a number and that's your prize, and you know, just like your standard carnival games. So they do have an area where they have that along with a really terrifying looking roller coaster. So we stopped by just to kind of see what the games were like, but they weren't that impressive, so I would skip it unless you're really into that kind of thing. They do have like a train that goes around the park, so we rode the train to get to that the games or whatever. Let's see. It was, like I said, it was fairly inexpensive to like go around and see this. I think they sometimes do have like shows, but I think because of COVID, they did not have a show going on. Or maybe it was just because it was the start of the week. But yeah, just overall, like 10 out of 10 would recommend. And that was the start of our trip. The rest of our trip, I mean, I think I will talk about it at the end of this video. So I didn't journal everything in this session because it was like 2 hours and I was exhausted, so I stopped. But I do at the end of this video show you how my pages for the rest of my trip played out. But yeah, and with that, I will leave you here because I think I'm gonna show you my flip through. All right, bye. Hello again. So, originally I had wanted to just show you all of these pages as I made them, but it just got to be just like so much to write and so much to decorate, so I stopped filming after the hour and a half, which is what all of the original footage was, and I just kind of journaled on my own time, and I wanted to just show you how they look now that they are completed. So this was the page that you guys saw on camera, all journaled and complete. This one ended up being my favorite spread out of all of them. I added these lines here with a Tombow, and I think these little orange like marks I did with a Arteza toy marker thing. So yeah, this one is my favorite. I just love how it's broken up and the colors all work together. Just my favorite spread. Okay, this one was the one with the pancakes and like the photos from the rides and stuff. I didn't like this one very much. I felt like it needed more, but I just didn't know how to do that without making a mess. So I left it at it as is. I'm just gonna like accept it because yeah. I overworked one of the other pages and I absolutely hate it. So I learned my lesson and I'm just gonna like leave it as it is. This one I did off camera. This one was about Clara Maria, this really awesome farm in the Netherlands. They make cheese and clogs, so we got to see a clog making demonstration. We got to play with the cows and the baby calves, and we got to try a bunch of cheese. So it's like all my favorite things in one place. So this spread I really did like. It was simple. I kind of had all the colors play off of each other, and I think it worked really well. This next one I hate so much. And it's sad because this is one of the things that I was really, really looking forward to on my trip, was to go to this store that just had gachapon machines. If you don't know what gachapons are, they're just like these really cool like vending machine type of things, similar to the ones that we have like when we were kids, like with the little the tattoos and stuff. But they have like really cool figures, and they're all over the place in Japan. And Japan is on like my top must go to places list. So I was really excited about going to here, like to just play with the gachapons and stuff. And like I had a vision. I was going to use all of the little pictures that come, because whenever you get a gachapon, they come with like a little flyer. I thought I had one around here. Yeah, but they come with like a little flyer description of like all of the ones that you could have gotten. So I cut out pictures of all of the ones that I did get, and I wanted to make like a little frame border, but it was too busy, and like I worked this page like 3 different times and I just couldn't get it to look the way I wanted. So here it is. Gachapon page. Here was, I journaled about our trip to Keukenhof, which is a really big, like a very well-known place to go see tulips. I was not that impressed. I wanted something a little more organic, and I felt like this park, while beautiful, just had everything in like neat little rows and like little patches, and it just, I don't know. It wasn't what I expected. But anyway, so that's what this is. And then this page here was about going to like the central station and like working out the public transit. And we went to something called the Body Museum, which is a museum with I think over like 200 displays of actual human bodies that have been preserved for scientific purposes. And I thought that this was going to be a really cool experience, but I couldn't get over the fact that they were real people, and I did not enjoy that at all. So if you are one of those people who don't particularly like that, I don't recommend it. It's just, yeah, it was just really hard to see past what it was that I was looking at, so did not like that. But I did get tickets to the Van Gogh Museum, and that's what this page was about. And This was one of my favorite things in the whole trip. It was just so inspiring and just beautiful to see his work just like up close, and his use of color and just his brush strokes. It was just beautiful. And then also learning about his life and just all that he had to endure. Yeah, so Van Gogh Museum, definite. If you are in the area, I do recommend you get this. You do get tickets for this. You have to get them in advance because they do sell out. But yeah, totally worth it. And that was, yeah, that was all of my pages. And I think that's crazy that all of this was just for one trip. But all right, I will let you guys go here. Sorry this took so long to get out to you. It was just a bigger challenge than I anticipated it would be in terms of like editing and whatnot. But anywho, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. You guys have a good one. Bye.